Everybody always wants to talk about the greatest riffs of all time, the best guitarists that have ever lived, the greatest bands that we've ever listened to. But nobody ever wants to talk about those bands that we know, we might all pretend that we hate, but they have one riff that just rocks. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the very first episode.
Riffs That Rock, bands you hate.
Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking right now. Didn't you start a series last year about music stuff, and then you made one episode, and then you didn't upload another video, but now you're starting a new guitar series that you're supposed to be uploading weekly? Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. So what is Riffs That Rock, Bands You Hate? It's a really simple concept to understand. Guitarists, we love to talk about and argue about all of the greatest riffs that have ever existed. And online, in magazines, on web forums, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Reddit, everywhere you go, you can find people talking about what are the best riffs that have ever existed. And largely, they're the same 50 or 100 songs that we've kind of all heard before. There's your Stairway to Heavens, your Back in Blacks, Sweet Child of Mines, and all of the rest of the classic riffs that we know and love. But I thought, what about a series where we highlight riffs from those bands that every guitarist knows if they mention has a good song, or their guitarist is even a little bit better than just okay, or even better than bad, they're going to get totally hated on for it, right? So that's what this series is all about. It's about finding riffs from bands that people generally dislike, some people actually downright hate, and showcasing some of the ones that actually rock. And maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe you'll say, hey, that riff doesn't rock. That's cool. Let me know in the comments. But I think a lot of these riffs actually do rock. And disclaimer, a lot of the bands that I'm going to highlight, I'm not personally saying that I dislike. I'm just saying that amongst the guitar community, they're not really held up in the highest standard, right? So if I attack one of the bands that you like, I'm not coming after you. It's possible that I like the band too. So what's the very first riff that we're gonna
cut my life into pieces?
The very first riff.
This is my last resort.
Look, the first riff is Papa Roach, Last Resort. Unless you've been living under a rock for like the past 20 years, you've probably heard this song before. It's easily their most famous song, and it's definitely probably the easiest to recognize for any guitarist. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, I've never really heard anybody say Papa Roach is my favorite band ever. I've never seen anybody say that their guitarist from Papa Roach is one of their favorite guitarists ever. I've actually don't think I've ever met anybody who even knows the name of the dude that plays guitar on this track. But the reality is, the riff is a pretty badass riff. And we've all heard it before. It's pretty iconic. It's like deeply embedded in your memory. And sure, it's like peak bro rock, super new metal. It's like proto Five Finger Death Punch territory. But the riff is good. And it might be because it's basically an Iron Maiden riff. But nobody's here to judge. I actually read a whole bunch of interviews from the members of Papa Roach while I was doing research for this video, and they claim to have never listened to Iron Maiden until after this song came out, which is a whole weird thing in itself. Like, how do you just entirely miss Iron Maiden, one of the biggest metal bands of all time, if you yourself are in a rock band? I don't know, whatever, topic for a different video. But something that I thought was really interesting is that they all said that the riff was inspired by Nas. Yes, Illmatic, New York State of Mind, East Coast rapper Nas. And it was actually written on a keyboard, and they envisioned it being like a keyboard riff with a hip-hop beat behind it. So something like this. I mean, the song ultimately sounds like Kid Rock stumbled upon his dad's Iron Maiden CDs, and then this weird new metal meshing happened, and then Last Resort happened. But the riff rocks. And honestly, whoever decided to add the Cut My Life into Pieces into the beginning of that song, that's like the best career move that Papa Roach has ever made. There's like no doubting that skyrocketed the song into like super iconic stratosphere. No doubt at all. But the riff itself on guitar is really fun. Even if it comes from a piano riff, it was supposed to be like a hip hop thing. It has a pretty heavy sound to it. It's a pretty simple riff to play. And I don't think you're going to find anybody online saying, you know what song you need to learn? Last Resort from Papa Roach. But I'm here to tell you that even though it's a band that you hate, it's a riff that rocks. Let's hear it. Alright guys, I'm really excited to be bringing new videos each week to the channel. I know that I said that last year, and then I didn't record a video, and I pretty much ghosted everybody for like an entire year, and I was nowhere to be found. That's not happening this time. Next week, there's going to be a video featuring a riff that absolutely rocks from a band that you probably hate. It'll be live on the channel. I can guarantee that, okay? If you guys think that the riff that I talked about in this video rocked, make sure you drop a comment and say that it did. If you watch this whole video and you think the riff sucks, you think the band sucks, and you're really questioning whether I have any idea what the hell I'm talking about, drop a comment and let me know that as well. But make sure in either case, you click the thumbs up on this video. It would mean a lot. And of course, if you have any riffs that you think I should check out or any artists that would be great for this series, drop that in a comment as well. I'd be really interested to see what you guys have to say in regards to that. And of course, it would not be a YouTube video unless I said this. If you enjoyed the content, please, please, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you want to see when the videos go live, and if you're interested in seeing me do some other stuff outside of music, I do stream on Twitch where I play Warzone with my friends, and I do some guitar streams there as well, and that's twitch.tv/overdriveomar. But outside of that, I'll see you guys next week with another riff.